Paint Care is all about keeping it simple for district residents. They make recycling leftover paint easy with convenient locations like your local paint store. Paint Care has 3 simple rules for painting smarter and reducing waste. 1, buy the right amount of paint for the job. 2, use up what's left. And 3, recycle the rest. Visit paintcare.org/3simplerules to learn more, or find a paint drop-off site near you. Today on CityCast DC, a DC coffee shop is alleged of kicking its anti-union efforts into overdrive. The heat is making the metro slow its roll, and the Folger Shakespeare Library is reopening. To get into all of it, I'm talking to CityCast's Kaela Cote-Stemmermann and Cuneyt from Axios. Today's Tuesday, June 25th. I'm Bridget Todd, and here's what DC is talking about. Cuneyt, Kaela, thank you for being here. It is lovely to see you both.
Morning.
It's great to be on.
So I'm here, I'm having my morning coffee, and that's making me think about what is going on with Compass Coffee. Do you all ever go there or drink their coffee?
Absolutely.
I used to be such a diehard fan, yeah. Like, especially their ice drinks. Oh, chef's kiss.
What happened? What made you stop being a diehard fan?
Well, now I work from home, so it's just not worth the effort.
Cuneyt, what about you?
I've been going there for a while. I went to AU and it was right, down the road on Massachusetts, and loved it. But I will note, I feel for the workers because every time I've been in there, I feel like they're always just working so hard and kind of short-staffed, honestly. Kind of feel for them every time I would go there.
Okay, well, that is exactly kind of what I wanted to chat with you all about, which is that y'all might have heard that the staff at 7 different Compass Coffee locations, which is more than a third of their stores across DC, announced their intention to unionize back in May. So they have this big union election scheduled for July 16th. But this week, Compass Coffee has been accused by the workers of, as The Guardian put it, hiring dozens of friends of management, including other local food service executives and an Uber lobbyist, in an effort to defeat the union election. So when I first heard this story, I was like, oh, they're just bringing in anti-union folks to help stifle this union effort, which is like a common thing. Like, I'm thinking they're hiring anti-union strategists or something at the management level. No, the Compass Coffee union and staff say that these people have been hired as baristas at the stores to disrupt union efforts.
So they're hiring like 100+ people, right? So does that automatically just weaken union efforts because those people can't be brought into the loop like before that vote? Is that the game plan?
I think that's the thinking, right? To sort of disrupt the voting process. A shift supervisor at the Georgetown Compass Coffee told The Guardian, "We received their first voter list. There were 43 people on the Georgetown cafe list, most of whom I had never met or seen in the cafe before. So the cafes are just flooded with new baristas. We also saw that they are forging schedules for days that have already passed. So they put people on the schedule for days that have already passed that were never at work." So I think all of this is meant to disrupt the union vote. Compass Coffee has been accused of hiring 124 additional people at cafes that are attempting to unionize.
Wow, that's crazy. I think that's like a 200% increase in like their total employees or something. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a meaningful change. And 2 of the people that the union says that Compass Coffee has hired as baristas, you might recognize. One is Liz Brown, who is an Uber lobbyist. She's being hired as a barista. The union also says that one of the new baristas is Union Kitchen CEO and co-founder Cullen Gilchrist, who you might remember. We've talked about Union Kitchen on the show before and their sort of tumultuous union organizing campaign. So it's folks like that who the union is accusing Compass Coffee as hiring as baristas, which I still can't get over. I was like, oh, well, maybe they're just strategists. Like, no, they're making the coffee.
That's insane. I'm sorry.
And I'm curious, this is not the first time that we've talked about coffee shops and labor issues and unionization. Why do we think that coffee shops have been this hotbed of unionization and that effort trying to be squashed? Like, what's going on with coffee shops that we can't just have one where the staff is treated well and able to unionize?
Didn't the Y Down also recently unionize as well? I mean, I think that, it does seem to be a trend. And Union Kitchen, it's not a coffee shop, but it has that same sort of, they do serve coffee, they do serve drinks and snacks and stuff like that. Yeah, like it's definitely a trend that's coming up in DC.
Yeah, and I think these people, like, I guess they want stability, right? And they want the job they can hold on to and get good pay and benefits and not worry about their shop cutting them or closing down or worse.
And that was exactly one of the things that the baristas were saying when they initially announced their intention to unionize, that they just wanted better working conditions. It was the same thing with Y Down. It's like people who make your coffee, like they really do deserve to be doing that under decent conditions and making a living wage to do that. Like, I don't know. I don't think that DC would run the way it is if it was not for service industry folks doing what they do. Like, it is the lifeblood of how stuff gets
coffee.
done. Yeah. Can you imagine what our city would be like? So let's take care of those folks. That's my thinking. And I am one of those weird people that will drink a hot coffee even though it's like 90 degrees in my house right now.
Oh, I did that this morning.
No,
Same.
that's messed up.
Wait, Kaela, you're
freaks.
like, it should be iced?
I'm iced all year, no matter the weather. Like, I grew up in Boston, like, drinking iced Dunks coffee, like, in a blizzard.
Ugh. We need to take this off mic because I have a lot to say about specifically Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee. I have a lot of thoughts.
It tastes worse here. I swear to God, I will die on this hill. It doesn't taste the same in DC.
Hey DC, let's talk trees. We all know planting trees is one of the best ways to take care of our environment, our community, and our health. They combat climate change, cool our city, clean our air and water, improve our physical and mental health, bring our communities together. I mean, the list goes on and on. But what if we don't have any inhabitable space for trees? What if, in order to save our trees, we first need to save the soil in which those trees are planted? KC Trees is a local nonprofit working to conserve DC's green spaces and nearby nature that makes our city so great to live in. Visit kctrees.org to learn more about how to protect our green spaces and natural areas. Experience a live performance with premium seating at Warner Theater or the Fillmore Silver Spring. Live Nation premium amenities totally change the concert experience with things like complimentary parking and private entry. Members also have access to in-seat wait service and exclusive food and beverage menus. Trust me, there is no better way to experience a live performance of a band, comedian, or even podcaster you love. Premium members get access and offerings before doors open to the VIP speakeasy-style 1924 lounge at Warner Theater and Vertigo Lounge at the Fillmore. Visit premium.livenation.com for more information or contact Mary Claire Griffin at maryclairegriffin@livenation.com or at 202-626-8255. Well, Janae, as it's so hot, I'm thinking about coffee, whether I should be drinking it hot or iced. What else is going on with this massive heat wave that we're all dealing with?
Well, it's making everyone sluggish, and also the metro trains. Turns out climate change and heat in general makes our transportation system go slower too. So Metro came out and said they're slowing their roll this past weekend, where their rail temperatures went above 135 degrees at one point, and they reduced the speed of trains to just 35 miles per hour because of that. So for safety reasons, trains have to do this pretty much if rails reach and expand at really high temperatures. So we saw a situation where this might be a preview when we get more sort of heat waves and have to confront the issue of our transportation system being affected by just on top of everyone sweating and having to stay indoors and all types of other crap we have to endure with the weather.
How much does that really affect the speed? I mean, like, how often do the trains really go above 35 miles an hour? That must be farther out, like in Virginia and Maryland, right?
Yeah, so the tracks above ground can go, I suppose, faster, but this affected the above ground section only. And so Metro told me this only added a couple minutes generally of travel time, so nothing major. But still, if like you zoom out, we saw Amtrak had a lot of delays this past weekend across the Northeast Corridor. They had to reduce their trains to like 80 to 100 miles per hour when they could go as fast as 155. So this is definitely all over the Eastern Seaboard. This was an issue for trains.
What is Metro doing about this, if anything?
Well, they are going to have to abide by the industry standard going forward. So steel train tracks expand due to heat and can't really get around it. But I guess they're saying it doesn't affect it too much other than a few minute delays, but certainly not great if it keeps happening over and over.
You know, as people who make content and media about DC, there are weather-related things that I never thought I would be writing about, talking about. Like, DC's always been hot and humid, but this is really record-shattering heat that is unusual. Tornadoes, and just like, I have to imagine this is going to become more and more of an issue as climate change worsens.
Yeah, I mean, that tornado was wild. Like, I grew up here and never recall something that, like a legit tornado just ripping through Montgomery County. I mean, that was pretty wild. I guess we're like just should expect some more crazy weather like that in the years to come.
It's time for everyone's favorite summer festival. This year's Smithsonian Folklife Festival theme is Indigenous Voices of the Americas, and it will celebrate the National Museum of the American Indian. There will be 6 days packed with programming with more than 290 participants from 60 Indigenous communities across the Western Hemisphere. Indigenous artists, professional chefs, musicians, dancers, athletes, and storytellers will demonstrate traditions and teach workshops that are all free to the public. And don't miss all the Indigenous-inspired cuisine, both on the mall and inside the museum at the Mitzitam Native Foods Cafe. The festival will be on the National Mall from June 26th until July 1st. All events are free, and the festival will be open daily from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Learn more at festival.si.edu.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
Speaking of this hot weather, I think everybody's looking for places that they can dip in that have a little bit of AC. Kaela, do you have anything to report that folks maybe want to check out if they're looking for places to spend time indoors right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, calling like all former theater kids and like Shakespeare nerds, there's the new Folger Shakespeare Library just reopened. It's been closed for 4 years for renovations, like $80 million in renovations. And they just reopened to the public last week. And it's often kind of overshadowed by like the Library of Congress, which is right next door. But it's really like this huge, I mean, it's the largest collection of Shakespeare in the entire world, which is crazy because like he's not even from here. But yeah, it's like this huge collection. And a lot of it was previously like locked up in vaults, and you'd have to be like a scholar or like request specific permission for certain books. But now like a huge portion of that has kind of been released and is on display for the public. Specifically, like these 82 first folios from Shakespeare, which are like these 400-year-old manuscripts that are like some of the most sought after like books in the history of publishing ever. Like they're super like very, very cool. They have them all on display that you can check out. And the renovations are really very impressive. Like they went below the building, like they dug out under the building and created an entire new like gallery and museum space under it, along with like a cafe. And then there's still like that original reading room that's really gorgeous and has even been updated with new amenities and windows and stuff like that. So yeah, a great spot to like get away from the heat, especially on the National Mall. Yeah, I don't know. It's very cool. Are you guys going to check it out, or are you not nerdy like that?
So when I was in high school, many, many, many years ago, we got to go on a special tour of it. It was like a big deal. It was one of those things where it was like they were alluding to it all year, and if you got in trouble, they wouldn't let you go. And I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, would it really have been that big of that big of a thing to be like, oh no, I can't go to the Folger? But it actually was like a very lit field trip. So I have been, and it was very cool.
Bridget, I remember a trip as well, but and I remember we had to memorize sonnets, Shakespeare sonnets, but I can't tell you which one. That's how
you can't
bad
recite
I am.
it for us right
now. Definitely can't
That's
recite
disappointing.
it. Probably can't even remember which one, but
I'm glad that you added that because my second question was going to be like, give us a verse.
Give us a verse.
I wish, seriously.
I'm also really excited they have this new cafe that they just opened called the Quill and Crumb. And I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like the subject of this huge like crowdsourced naming competition where they got like thousands and thousands of names that were submitted for what the cafe should be called. And some of them were like absolutely hilarious. Apparently the Quill and Crumb won by popular vote. I find it a little hard to believe because it's a little bit, I feel like they could have done better with all the Shakespeare puns out there. But they are going to be like serving tea, coffee, lunch, breakfast, stuff like that. So you don't need to go far for a snack once you're famished from reading all that Shakespeare.
Sounds like a great way to beat the heat and spend a day like checking out cool artifacts and drinking coffee.
And the best part is actually it's free for everybody. But I do recommend you like get those timed reservation passes because I think it's going to be popular for the first few weeks that it's open.
Well, Kaela, Cuneyt, we will take the metro very slow. We will get coffee from a coffee shop that is not
Compass Coffee.
Yeah, maybe not squashing unionization efforts, and we'll spend a day at the Folger.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a lovely day.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Great to be on.
That's all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your Shakespeare nerd friend? You can rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow with even more news from around the city. Talk to you then.